In the race for the White House, Miami Mayor Francis Suarez announcing his campaign has passed the 40,000 unique donor threshold set by the GOP to make the debate stage later this month. Now let's bring in that man, Miami Mayor Francis Suarez. Hola, Mayor. Gracias for coming on, my friend. So you made the stage. Fox had a graphic that said you're partially made the stage, but I understand you've made the stage. Sir, tell us, you're on the stage. Trump is there or isn't there? What's the strategy?
You know, the strategy is incremental growth, Eric. The strategy is you go from 1% and you appeal to the 99% of people that don't know who you are. They're going to get to see someone who's very different. They're going to get to know me on a personal level, which is what you always want to do, is you want to connect with the voters. And then you want to inspire the voters. You want to tell them about your record, right? Our record is a record of achievement, lowering taxes to the lowest level ever, seeing double-digit growth, lowest unemployment in America. You know, 17 homicides compared to 700 homicides in Chicago, right? The lowest per capita homicide rate last year since 1964, and down 37% from last year. And this year, like I said, we're #1 in tech job growth, and we're #1 in wage growth. That is an incredible record that, if you extrapolate that nationally, can create a generation of prosperity for Americans. So we're going to tell that story on the debate stage. We're going to get time. People are going to get to know who I am. They're going to get to know that my parents were exiled from their country of birth, which was Cuba, where a leader there said, give us all your property, give us all your businesses, and don't worry, we'll make everybody equal.
Mayor, I will vouch for you. I live just north of Miami. It's a wonderful place. You've made it extremely livable. You made it the American dream, honestly. You're doing a great job there. We've heard this before. Here's what I want to get to. Trump indictments. He's had 3. He may see a 4th in the next couple of days in Georgia. What do you weigh in on whether he's being prosecuted or persecuted?
Oh, I think there's no doubt that the sentiment is he's being persecuted and not prosecuted. I mean, when you look at the last indictment, you know, look, you could say whatever you want to say about the former president, but he's been very consistent about his feeling that the election was stolen. And the indictment is about what he knew, right? What they can prove that he knew. And he was being advised by people that he listened to, and he felt, you know, a compelling sense that that the election was stolen. He has never deviated from that. So I think the prosecution is going to have an issue with that. Frankly, it's a little depressing that we're still talking about things that happened 4 years ago instead of how are we going to take this country forward, right? What's important now is how are we going to make this country prosper for my children's generation, for all of our children's generation? We have some incredible threats to our prosperity. The increasing threat of China. They're graduating more PhDs in computer science than we are. They have more 5G than we have. They're a country that's using a stranglehold. I call it the Python method, to try to indebt countries throughout the world, to project communism throughout the world, which, by the way, puts immigration pressure on the United States. We're giving them $500 billion of our wealth every single year. We have an immigration crisis at the border, a human trafficking crisis. I mean, it goes on and on.
I noticed that you just announced that you're taking Bitcoin donations. You'll let your campaign donations be coming in Bitcoin. It strikes the question, as mayor, as governor, if you want to be governor, I'm not sure that's not part of this play here in Florida, or if you want to be president. Government seems to want to get involved. They want to know more about Bitcoin. They want to be part of the Bitcoin process. What is your stance on Bitcoin as far as government, keep government out of Bitcoin completely, digital currencies? That was the lure of it from the beginning. What are your thoughts?
I've always been against central bank digital currencies, which is sort of the Fed equivalent of it, or the fiat equivalent of it, because I don't want people knowing where my money is and how much money I have in my bank account. I have to file taxes, and that's when that process unfolds. But you don't want the federal government in your own business any more than it has to be. I think the Bitcoin network has been a check and balance on a fiat system that is making the poor poor. When you consider runaway government spending, that's creating rapid inflation. So the money you have in your bank account is diminishing in purchasing power. And then you see the Fed having to counteract that from the other side and increase interest rates. So if you're a poor person in this country, your dollar is worth less. And now if you want to buy a house, it's more expensive. That's Bidenomics. I don't know where they came up with this branding of Bidenomics, Latinx, or Latinos being San Antonio tacos. Whoever their branding people are should be fired. But I'll tell you that They should be focusing on the promise of American prosperity, which is what every single presidential candidate, Republican candidate, should be focusing on.
I'm almost out of time, and I've said this to Vivek Ramaswamy, I've said it to Chris Christie, I've said it to people who've come on here. I'll say it to you, I don't see the path, Mayor Francis Suarez, for the presidency. I will tell the folks right now, I'm looking at a guy who you'd want on your team anywhere as long as you're a conservative politician. You're an up-and-coming guy. You're going to make your stake. I'm not sure that 2024 is the right time for the presidency. Is this about maybe, I don't know, increasing your Q score, your favorability, maybe to run for governor of Florida if and when Governor DeSantis is no longer a governor?
Look, Eric, I very much appreciate the vote of confidence. You know how much I respect you, and I enjoy being on your show. I ran for president and running for president because I feel like I have something unique to offer. I think we have to be able to get Hispanic voters, 20% of which are undecided. We've got to be able to get urban voters. I did that in Miami-Dade County. That was a +30 for Democrats, and now is a +10 for Republicans. And we've got to be able to get young voters. They went +26 for Biden. That's unforgivable. That's what my candidacy is about, restoring American prosperity for a generation. And my hope is that it catches fire. If it doesn't catch fire, you know, we'll see what other political opportunities there are in the future.
I would tell you what, you are a great conservative, you're a great American, you're a great patriot, and you represent the Hispanic community perfectly for the American people and for conservatives. Mayor Francis Suarez, thank you for being here.
Thank you, my friend.